There have been new economic models emerging for quite some time now. Beyond charities and not-for-profits, there have been economic models emerging that function in a fundamentally different way. There has also been efforts to decentralize the more traditional models. Let's go into some of those that have emerged since, say, the 1980s. Back in the 1980s, Richard Stallman and Linus Torvalds were working on coding components of a computer operating system. Stallman was coding the actual operating system, and Torvalds was coding the kernel that is the back end for it. Problems that computer science students experienced with proprietary software being inaccessible led them to making the source code accessible to all. This would be an operating system that could be learned from and changed. It was put into the public domain with a general public license. A new type of economic model emerged with the release of the operating system. A lot of open source software was written not only for the new GNU Linux operating system, but also for the proprietary operating systems. Usage of these open source products increased to the point that a very large community had built a microeconomy to produce and distribute it. Now the infrastructure for the internet runs primarily on this open source software, which has a large and growing number of users. This microeconomy has become integrated into the economy. How it was integrated into the economy is pretty interesting. The distribution of the software is not very restrictive. This allows a variety of organizations to distribute the software with their own model. Different methods have emerged over the decades, and some of them are gratis, where the software costs no money, not-for-profit, where the software development relies on donations, and pay what you can, where the user decides what they will pay, if anything, and commercial, where the software is sold at a price decided by the company. Now let's talk about the blockchain. The blockchain is a method of securing a digital ledger. A ledger is just a document that documents where money has exchanged hands. They keep track of where accounts gain and spend funds. In this increasingly connected world, a digital ledger, which is a document that is a computer file, could be hacked and forged and no longer legitimate. The blockchain makes a number of copies of the document and distributes them to many places, and the many copies are used to check the integrity of each other. Getting around it would mean finding almost all of them and forging them at the same time, which with current technologies is near to impossible. The blockchain makes the digital ledger very, very secure. Now we can talk about cryptocurrencies. They use the blockchain to secure transaction ledgers. When the digital currency is spent, that transaction is added to the digital ledger. This keeps track of all of the transactions that happen with that particular cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrencies are called cryptocurrencies because the account holders are given a cryptographic code to access their account with. Cryptocurrencies are an innovation in currencies, but they have pros and cons. We've already discussed the secure ledger and accounts, but now let's discuss non-fiat currency. That is a currency that is connected to some scarce resource. The gold standard, for instance, was a currency that was backed by its value in gold. By that standard, money can only be printed if the central bank acquired enough precious metal to cover its face value. With cryptocurrency, it cannot be printed unless a mathematically interesting type of number is found. For instance, a prime number is a number that can only be divided by itself and 1, and result in a whole number. A cryptocurrency can be based on a prime number. For every prime number found, one crypto coin could be digitally minted. This would limit the number of crypto coins to the number of prime numbers that are found. The importance of this is to ensure that the currency has some type of value. There's an old saying, if money grew on trees, it would be worth as much as leaves. One of the cons of cryptocurrency is that, on its own, it's stored value. This only benefits the account holder. Remember, an added efficiency to derivatives markets is the ability to invest stored funds. Another con is that cryptocurrency gets locked up. This happens when an account holder loses their account information. When this happens, neither the account holder nor anyone else can access the funds in the account. They are cryptographically locked away. Billions in cryptocurrency are locked up. The platforms are essentially systems where cryptocurrency serves more purposes. This, of course, allows cryptocurrency to build more complexity. For instance, Ethereum is a platform and its currency is Ether. With the platform, the currency can be used for investments, business deals, etc. It's not systemically mandated as it is in the traditional derivatives market. It's just an option. There are pros and cons to that as well, but they are pretty complex and deserve a separate discussion. One of the more interesting developments in platforms is the ability to automate exchanges. This allows bots, or narrowly focused artificial intelligences, to interact with each other for mutual benefit and pay each other for the services they provide to each other. It's essentially automated business. This is possible with smart contracts. The parameters of exchanges, like types of services, amounts of data and such, can be priced in a smart contract, and humans are not needed to make the exchange. This type of business exists right now. DeFi is decentralized finance. This is a platform that allows cryptocurrency to be used in finance. It's one of the ways that cryptocurrency is being integrated into the system. DAOs are distributed autonomous organizations. They are similar to investment funds in that they amass a fund of cryptocurrency to invest. However, they have more than one bottom line. The manner in which they invest tends to be determined by their community values. This allows DAOs to address a wide variety of issues with their investments. The way to look at these emerging microeconomies theoretically is probably increasing complexity. What we are witnessing is bifurcations of microeconomies by producing more forks in the tree structure. There is a general theme in the bifurcation of decentralization. It's an addition to the top-down centralized economic model with grassroots decentralized models. These are models that are of, by, and for the people. This is in the wake of many crises and instances of wealth aggregation. This appears to be an attempt by the population to solve some of the economic issues that we face through distributed intelligence. Where this is getting interesting is that it is demonstrating what issues are truly systemic and what issues are born of bad actors. With the traditional derivatives market, that was determined by how prevalent the negative behaviors were and how the system itself promoted the negative behaviors. Now we're seeing many similar issues in the new models of derivatives. We're seeing wealth aggregation, extreme volatility, mania, distributed antitrust violations, and many more. This cloud, however, has a silver lining. These organizations are much more agile and thus much easier to correct with competition. This is because they have the ability to change their models in an effort to survive. This derivatives market is far from as rigid as the traditional one. It has just now begun to form enough complexity to scale and thus compete with the traditional derivatives market, and it has only just begun to become interesting.